Thank you, Clive. Good evening to you. Coming up on BBC London. Empty platforms, limited services and frustrated passengers on day 4 of the train driver strike, affecting 9 operators serving the capital.
I understand that it's annoying, and I get that, but equally I don't think that that's enough of a reason for the general public to undermine the efforts of a union.
I think it's been going on for a long time, and the train drivers are earning enough money, I think.
Also tonight, desperate for answers after her father's unexpected death in Cambodia. A daughter tells us she feels the government should be doing more to help repatriate his body. Plus, capturing a London icon. Back to Black, the new film of Amy Winehouse's life and music, premieres tonight in Leicester Square. We speak to the London stars. And meet the dancers closing the generation gap via the power of movement. A very warm welcome. It was a case of delays, cancellations and more misery for rail passengers in the capital today on this day 4 of the train driver strikes. With services on 9 train operator services in London and the South East affected by walkouts. Some ran limited services, some ran no trains at all. The union ASLEF says there have been no new formal talks for a year and that more strikes are possible. Here's our transport correspondent, Tom Edwards.
St Albans in Hertfordshire, a commuter town with no commuters, although there were still a few turning up unaware of the strike. Did you know about the strikes?
No, I knew they were going on, but I didn't know they cancelled the St Albans station.
And obviously annoying for you.
Well, yeah, I have a train to Paris at 2:30.
What are you going to do?
Uber, probably. I don't really have a choice.
You going to get a taxi?
I don't have to do much money for the taxi. I have to pay more than £50. That is a problem for me.
It also meant a very slow day on the cab rank.
I understand everybody have a right to strike, but I think it's been going on for a long time, and the train drivers are earning enough money, I think. And he's got a big impact on, local shops, taxi trade.
What do you think of the rail strikes? What does it do to your business?
The business is our very, very bad. We are 100% dependent for rail, our business. Yeah, this is very bad for us.
9 operators were affected today on the last day of this group of rolling strikes. At Waterloo Station, an empty rush hour.
I am tired of that. What I can say.
I agree with the strikes, to be honest. I think strikes are a good thing. And the unions, they have quite a lot of power.
I think that there's been loads of strikes, to be honest. I work in the NHS, so we've, again, striking as well, but there's a certain point when you've just got to stop.
I understand that it's annoying, and I get that, but equally I don't think that that's enough of a reason for the general public to undermine the efforts of a union to get something that they deserve.
This dispute over pay and conditions started way back in 2022. There have already been 13 one-day strikes by train drivers, and there are probably going to be more.
What's your message to frustrated Londoners this morning?
Well, I'm a frustrated Londoner, and I'd much rather be talking about cleaner, greener trains. I wouldn't talk about capacity. People behind me don't want to be losing money. They'd much rather be doing their day job, getting people from A to B, and we want to get back to normal running, as we are everywhere else in the country.
The government says a 4% pay offer is on the table. The union says that has already been rejected. The railway isn't a happy place. Tom Edwards, BBC London.
Next tonight, a woman from East London died when a major private healthcare provider failed to transfer her to NHS intensive care quickly enough after she became critically ill. Spire Healthcare has apologised for failings in Nafisa Khan's care. The death of Mrs Khan is one of several deaths following surgery at Spire Healthcare, looked at by BBC Panorama. Monica Plaha reports.
So talk me through these pictures.
So they were taken on my 8th birthday, I think. Sabrina Khan's mum, Nafisa, underwent a routine operation in 2021. She'd been referred to Spire East London. It's run by Spire Healthcare, one of the UK's biggest private providers. The operation was paid for by the NHS as part of measures to cut wait lists.
She had gallstones, so she used to get pain, and she went to the GP a few times and they referred her.
As she came round from the operation, Nafisa became seriously unwell.
My dad got a call saying we need to keep her for a few more hours to check on her.
By the following morning, her condition was becoming critical and there was no intensive care facility. An ambulance to take her to an NHS hospital didn't arrive until nearly 10 o'clock that evening.
Why did they wait that whole Saturday while she was deteriorating, while she was vomiting, to transfer her to the NHS hospital? They should have known that something was wrong.
Sabrina's mother died shortly after she was transferred to an NHS intensive care unit.
Before she went in for her surgery, she sent me a WhatsApp message saying, "Love you." And I always look back on that message and think, had she not went in for that surgery at all, I would have my mum here today. And I think that's what hurts the most. Sorry.
Spire Healthcare has admitted failing to fully appreciate the seriousness of Mrs. Khan's deteriorating condition and has apologised. It said she should have been transferred earlier to an NHS hospital for critical care. Spire, which runs 39 private hospitals across the UK, has 5 hospitals with critical care units. Spire East London, where Nafisa Khan was referred to, didn't have an ICU. David Rowland is critical of the NHS using private providers. He runs a health think tank and is worried about differences in the way private hospitals are staffed.
What we've seen in a number of instances where something's gone wrong in a private hospital after an operation and the consultant has left the hospital, the anaesthetist has left the hospital, the responsibility for dealing with that emergency lies with the resident medical officer.
Spire Healthcare says the well-being of all its staff is of paramount importance and has since updated its working practices. It also says it has robust safeguards to ensure that resident doctors are well supported, and 98% of its hospitals are rated good or outstanding. But for Sabrina, there is no closure. She says the system failed her. Monica Plaha, BBC London.
And just to say, you can watch more of that story on BBC Panorama. NHS patients going private. What are the risks? It's on BBC iPlayer now. The address is there, or on BBC One this evening at 8 p.m. Plenty more to come this Monday evening, including...
We go back to black for the world premiere of the film telling the story of the life of the North Londoner turned global superstar, Amy Winehouse.
To the mayoral campaign trail now, because in less than 4 weeks' time, Londoners vote for who they want to become this city's next mayor. We've already heard from some of the candidates and their promises and pledges are plenty. Tonight, it's the turn of the Green Party's candidate, Zoe Garbett, who's been setting out how she would make the capital a fairer place to be, with an emphasis on helping workers and renters. But there are costs attached, as our political editor, Tim Donovan, can tell us. He's in Westminster now. Hi, Tim.
Hi, Riz. Yeah, the Greens are the first party to put out there, if you like, a full set of proposals with some details too. I mean, their central offer remains being most committed, they argue, to environmental change, and their candidate, Zoe Garbett, says that she would be the one you could trust to get to net zero when you could remove more emissions from the atmosphere than you're generating. But there has also been this theme of fairness running through what they're arguing, and that does have a price attached. In a park in Walthamstow in East London, the Greens mayoral candidate set out a manifesto with fairness at its core.
We believe in a London that's not for rogue landlords, bankers or corporate CEOs, but for its people, for us. This manifesto that we launched today is a plan to do just that, a plan to refocus London on workers and renters in the city.
Her pledges included consulting on road charging, where motorists pay according to when and how far they drive, extending free school meals to secondary school pupils, and cheaper public transport, including free bus travel until you're 22. She says there should be an ambition for people to pay a flat fare wherever they travel on tube and overground, as currently on the buses, but accepts this would not happen without government.
It would be in the region, well, it'd be hundreds of millions to get that one into London. So that's why we're saying that we'd start with the tens of millions commitments that I can do, the kind of under 22s and the asylum seekers and those commitments and the pre-9 a.m. travel, and then work towards getting that better deal from government.
That help for asylum seekers would include free travel and free bike hire, a clear signal, she said, of a welcoming city. While there would be a rent commission to look at how to get the cost down for people like her who rent in the capital.
And Tim, this question of road pricing is something that's been seized upon by the Tories aimed at the current mayor.
Yeah, they put out this a campaign material. They put out something on social media which shows a sign with PPM on it, like a ULEZ sign but in red, PPM standing for pay per mile, indicating that that's what Sadiq Khan would go for. And alongside that, some people have been getting leaflets which look like penalty charge notices, but you're invited to click on what we call the QR code, and that takes you to a page also saying that Sadiq Khan plans this pay per mile road charging. He says he won't, but Susan Hall, his Tory opponent, denies she's being misleading.
He spent £150 million on a project Detroit where you've got lots of software engineers working on London pay per mile.
But he's expressly said he won't introduce it in the next term.
Yeah, he expressly said he wasn't going to introduce the ULEZ expansion. And guess what? 2 years later, when he's been re-elected, he does.
As I say, Riz Sadiq Khan's team pointing out are saying that he's categorically ruled this out. The exact words: these leaflets peddle a barefaced lie. The Tories are clearly desperate and have resorted to deliberately misleading Londoners. I think we'll get a fair amount more of this in the coming weeks.
I'm sure we will. Tim, for now, thanks ever so much. That's our political editor, Tim Donovan there. And you can, of course, see a full list of candidates standing in May's mayoral election on our website, where you can also follow the latest on the race for City Hall. The address you can see there, bbc.co.uk/London. There's plenty, including the latest in having a mayor, where our political correspondents talk about the days, weeks and events, the thrills, the spills, the faffs and the gaffs. Next this evening, a daughter is desperately searching for answers after her father from Queen's Park died mysteriously in Southeast Asia. Police in Cambodia say Sonny Subaru took his own life by jumping from the 22nd floor of the apartment building he was staying in. But his daughter says that doesn't add up, and she's fighting to bring his body back to the UK, as James Boville reports.
60-year-old Sonny Subaru was the life and soul of the party, young at heart and a keen traveller.
Sounds like me when I try to sing.
He was also loving father to Shannon, but on the 26th of March in the Cambodian capital, Phnom Penh, tragedy struck.
My grandma's called me and she's like, I'm sorry to let you know that your dad's passed, and I'm just like, what? Like, from that point, I literally just started screaming and crying because it's like, how? Like, why? Like, my dad.
This is M Residence, a high-rise complex where Cambodian authorities say Sonny took his own life. The police report concluding he died by jumping from the 22nd floor. But Shannon says it doesn't add up.
I just refuse to believe what they are saying on that paper is true. Like, it's just out of my dad's nature. And there's obviously no evidence being provided. There is literally nothing that I know. He would not want me to sit here and just allow his death to just be brushed under the carpet.
Shannon points to a similar incident less than a month before. Newspapers reporting a man fell from the same building, also in the middle of the night, this time following an argument over jewellery. The Foreign Office says it's supporting the family and is in contact with local authorities, but the family says communication has been poor.
The UK government have let us down big time, because my dad was a British citizen UK. He lived in London his whole life, so it just makes no sense for them to say that they can't do anything. Like, how are you telling me you can't bring my dad's body home?
Shannon is desperate to stop her father's body from being cremated in Cambodia. She wants to bring him and his belongings back to the UK to find out for sure how he died. Every day until then is a living nightmare.
I need the closure for the sake of my dad. I need the closure for the sake of me. Like, I can't sit here, keep questioning myself, keep thinking, what happened to my dad? What did someone do? How did he die? How did he go? Like, it's killing me.
James Boville, BBC London.
Let's take a look now at some of the day's other stories in brief. Police say human remains found in a park in South London have now been identified as 38-year-old Sarah Mayhew. Officers were called to Rowdown Fields in Croydon last Tuesday following the discovery. A 44-year-old man and a 48-year-old woman have been arrested on suspicion of murder. The Met Police says it's taking legal advice after a disciplinary panel ruled a firearms officer should keep his job despite touching a female colleague under her clothes. Police Sergeant Daniel Fletcher was demoted after being found guilty of gross misconduct. The force says it disagrees with the findings and intends to seek a judicial review. And as you may have seen on the 6th, today French soldiers have taken part in the changing of the guard at Buckingham Palace to celebrate 120 years of friendship when the Entente Cordiale was signed. The agreement is seen as the basis of the alliance between the UK and France. She is one of our most famous Londoners and was a huge music star at the time of her death at the age of 27. Now a new film biopic captures her life on the Camden streets she called home and the struggles of global fame at a young age. Back to Black has its premiere in Leicester Square tonight, starring 2 London actors. Frankie McCamley caught up with him a few moments ago.
Do you know what girl power means to me? Sarah Vaughan, Lauryn Hill. You need to know this. I ain't no Spice Girl.
From primary school to sell-out concerts. It's going to happen one of these days. Voice like yours, got to.
Well, it's one of the best I've ever heard. That's my...
And welcome to an absolutely packed red carpet here on Leicester Square. And I'm joined by some of the stars and the director of this brand new film. Thank you so much for joining us here. Marisa Abello, you play Amy. Jack, you play Blake. And Sam, the director, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations. First of all, Marisa, what does it feel like playing Amy, such an iconic person?
I mean, it feels kind of insane, but you have to take it one step at a time. And I think it was important for me and for us to kind of peel away the layers of the icon, you know, and get back to the girl. And I think that's what we've done with this film. I'm so excited.
And I think Amy's struggles were so well known, so well documented in the media. Was there anything that you learnt from this film playing Amy?
Well, I think more than anything, it was just about sort of maybe trying to switch that narrative slightly back to her achievements in life, her legacy, the way that she intended it to be, which was all about her music, you know, and that's what Sam did. She used the music in this film to frame our entire story, and what that does is gives Amy some autonomy back in her life, and I think that's what's really powerful.
And Jack, you fill Blake's shoes. We are. We will be on the telly. What was it like filling Blake's shoes?
Yeah, class, man. Listen, I really enjoyed it. I had such an immense amount of fun working with these guys, and just felt free, which is it's the best feeling in the world. Just encouraged. Thanks to Sam, thanks to Marisa's support, and there's just a lovely openness on this set, and I think we got something really authentic, and I'm massively, massively proud have had any involvement. So, no, and kudos.
Well, let's come to you now, Sam. Why did you want to direct this film?
I felt like when they asked me if I was interested, I said yes before I'd even really processed the enormity of what I was taking on, and in a way, the responsibility of it. But I felt like, you know, her life had been so picked apart during her lifetime and then straight after her death, that it felt like it was important to kind of celebrate and give back the music and to kind of go into this with her perspective. So you have a real sense of why she wrote the music that she did, and just to hear it with a sort of fresh voice in a way.
And just finally, Marisa, you're a Londoner. What was it like filming on the streets that you probably know so well?
I mean, you know, we did 56 locations in 45 days or something. I mean, it was an immense sort of like feat, and kudos to the whole crew that we were really out there pounding the pavement, but you cannot tell Amy's story without Camden and without London. And I think that there's a lot of pride of London and of the culture, specifically of that time, that music culture in our film, and I think you can really feel that.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much for speaking to me. And if you do want to watch the film, it's out in cinemas this Friday.
That was Frankie talking to the stars and director of Back to Black. We'll stay with the music, but incorporate dance now. Big clue. And something which aims to be uplifting and challenge perceptions around dance and age, because over 60s from the Sadler's Wells Company of Elders are teaming up with some of the best hip-hop dancers in the country from the Zoo Nation Youth Company. It's all part of a festival which starts later this week, and we've been backstage during rehearsals to find out a bit.
So Company of Elders has been running at Sadler's Wells for 35 years. So it's a group of older adults from the local community that come to Sadler's Wells. They rehearse every week, and we make a performance every year.
It was wonderful working with younger people and to experience their perspective of us and to have us speak to them and how we view them. And I think as a dancer, you have to rise up to the challenge of doing different kinds of styles of dancing. This certainly has been a challenge, but it's been wonderful.
I think this kind of generation crossing was so much more natural than you would ever expect it to be. Like the friendships that I've created with people like that are like 40 years older than me. It's like it's like the difference isn't even there. One of the elders told me that what they would say to their younger self is to do more and to like kind of have more energy and just go for things more. And so I think it was kind of the opposite of what you would expect to learn from people that are older.
Well, with dance as being such a sort of physical art form, I guess there's preconceptions that the physicality of the form means that it's not something that you necessarily do as you get older. So for older performers to keep dancing, the festival challenges who we see on stage and what bodies are allowed to be on stage.
Quite uplifting. Let's see if the weather can do the same. Gorsad has joined us. Not a bad start to the week, but of course all the talk has been about eclipse.
It has been, hasn't it? A lot of talk. We're not in the path, I'm afraid, to see the eclipse, but it is impacting our weather. So, well, not in the weather, the tides certainly. I'll have all the details in a moment. But yes, we're not in the pathway. If you're feeling a bit of FOMO, a bit of feeling of missing out, well, like it's been cloudy for us, it's likely cloudy elsewhere as well. And so we're not really going to get the chance to see the eclipse further north either. But there will be some impacts regarding the eclipse. So with the total eclipse and the gravitational pull and the new moon, it is going to affect our tides. So with the high tides, large waves are expected over tonight. And the Thames barrier is actually operating overnight as well, so it will be closed. And together, there are some flood warnings, flood alerts around as well. So there's a flood warning for the Essex coastline, and there's a couple of flood alerts for the Thames estuary. So there is the risk of some localised flooding, and this is all because of that total eclipse. So certainly that's worth to keep an eye on. Now, we do have low pressure nearby, and for this evening commute as well, we've had some pretty lively showers, and we'll continue to see some for a time. And then some further outbreaks of rain to come as well. So these are those showers for this evening. They will tend to clear away for a time with some clear spells, but by the end of the night, more in the way of cloud some showers around, and temperatures, well, 7 to 9 Celsius, but it will become windier, those winds increasing as we head through the night and for tomorrow morning as well and throughout the day. So quite a cloudy, quite a damp start to the day tomorrow. The cloud will thin and break to allow some sunny spells through by the afternoon, but there'll also be some blustery showers and temperatures reaching around 10 to 12 Celsius, so significantly cooler tomorrow compared with today where we reached 18 Celsius, and it will be windy as well with gusts of 40 to 50 miles per hour. Now, those showers will continue for a time, and then during the evening it will become drier with some clearer spells for a time. And this will allow it to become a bit chilly. So tomorrow night, temperatures dipping down to around 4 to 7 Celsius. Some spots may be a few degrees lower. And so it means a dry start to the day for Wednesday. And if you are celebrating Eid on Wednesday, well, it's a dry, bright start, but then cloud and I'm afraid some outbreaks of showery rain will arrive later in the day. The winds will be lighter though, and it's still quite cool, 12 to 14 Celsius, but becoming drier and brighter Thursday onwards. That's your forecast.
The weather keeping you on your toes. Corsa, thanks ever so much. And that's where we leave you this Monday. You know there's always plenty more on our website and social media, including check out the largest collection of original Banksys going on display this week in London, including one that's believed never to have been seen before. From me and everyone on the team, thanks for watching and have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.